Hello, everyone. This is Jeanette Chaliga with VGA, and I am here with my wonderful, very distant cousin, Cari Taplin. Hello, Cari. How are you
Hi,
doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you? Yes, distant cousin. I love it.
I know. Yes, we found each other using the Relatives Near Me app at FGS in DC a couple summers ago.
Yeah,
And I can't remember, are we ninth or 10th
I
cousins?
was
It's
trying to
something.
remember. Yeah, I think nine sticks in my head, ninth
Yeah,
cousin. So we'll
maybe
just call it
ninth
that.
cousins once removed or something
Something like
like
that. Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So how have
Okay,
you
I'll
been
take you.
lately? Yeah, you'll have me. How have you been lately? Have you been doing any research on your own genealogy?
Well, a little bit. I work full time in genealogy, so it's kind of hard to get time, to do my own. But I do a little bit and here and there. And so, yeah, I've done a little.
Yeah, I hear you about that. I've
Yeah,
been trying to like set aside specific time to just work on my tree, like
exactly.
you got to do it. And so can you please share a little bit about who your favorite ancestor is?
Yeah, I have this one guy. His name's Thomas Carroll Mitchell. He was born in Kentucky, and then he and his wife moved to Missouri, and then the Civil War started. So he signed up with the Confederate Army in 1863-ish, and apparently was quite a character.
You just
He was just quite a character. I have found letters in Fold 3 about him, letters from the adjutant general writing about him because they captured him and he was a prisoner of war in Alton, Illinois, and
Wow.
he apparently just caused trouble because they would write about him. And if I like the guy would say, if I could, I would execute him. Basically, he's such an SOB.
Oh
And
my
they rated
gosh.
it was all written out in the letter. He's just an
No.
SOB. He's a traitor from the tip of his toes to the top of his head. And like it just would go on and on about him. So I don't know what he was doing, but
Oh my goodness.
he was
Did
written
he
about.
did he live past like long past the Civil War?
Yeah, he died in I think 1914. His wife died in 1913 and he died in 1914. So
In
yeah.
in Kentucky as well?
No, in Missouri. So he was in Missouri. He got land there, and then when the Civil War happened, and he joined up. I think they sold the land, but some of those records got burned. So I'm not really sure exactly what happened to his land. I assume they sold it, and then went off to war and got captured. And so he was in Alton, Illinois, and on his capture, on his when they released him from the prison, it said that he couldn't go back to Missouri during the war. So he stayed in Illinois. And for the longest time, I wondered why he had one daughter born in Illinois. I always thought it was like a typo, whatever. No, I figured it out. He was actually had to stay in Illinois during the war. And then when it was over, they went back to Missouri to a different county, but they lived the rest of their life in Missouri. So, yep.
Okay. And so, sometimes in obituaries, or whatever, there will be things where people will say, what a kind soul this person was, or anything. Was there any other evidence you had about his character that you've come across?
No, his obituary was quite short, like it just listed the basics. No, I haven't found any other evidence about that. That just that he was really for the cause, apparently, and gonna let them know.
So that's a great story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Um, so I've been seeing a lot of your blog posts lately. So can you share with us what you've been up to?
yeah. So PERSI, the Periodical Source Index, this is my latest series. The Periodical Source Index was created by Allen County Public Library. I forget exactly when they started it, long time ago, and they indexed all of the genealogical society journals from the beginning of time, basically. And so the Periodical Source Index, known as PERSI, is such a valuable resource, and it's kind of had some iterations over the years. It was a printed book for a long time, and then it was on microfilm, microfiche, something like that, and then it finally got onto a database, and it lived in Ancestry for a while, and then it was at my hair or my
Heritage Quest.
Heritage Quest, there we go,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was that most recently at Find My Past. But apparently their contract is ending, so it's moving over to Allen County Public Library's own website. So it's going back home. They never actually hosted it on their website. I always linked to these other places, but now they're going to host it. So they have a
That's
new
awesome.
interface. Yeah, they have a whole new kind of interface. It still works the same. the index itself didn't change, but how you access it on the computer is different. So I've been writing about my favorite tips and about how some of the new features of the new index and so on my blog.
So it has migrated officially, like it's there now.
It is there, but I think
Okay,
I haven't double checked, but I believe it's still at Find My Past while they're kind of making the transition. The last
gotcha.
I attended a webinar where they just introduced the new Percy, and they said it was not officially rolling out. Like they still had a few changes to make to it. So there might
Hmm.
be a few changes even since my blog post has been written, but I don't think they're going to be major changes. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I
it's at their website.
I was being a little, I don't know. I can't think of a nice word to say, but it was my first visit to Allen County Public Library, and our society, my local society of which I'm a board member, sends our newsletters,
Hmm.
to be included in Percy. And if so, my name was listed
Yeah,
on our newsletter because I was a board member, and I'm like, so I pulled it off. I'm like, look, haha, I'm in
I'm in
Percy.
Percy. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was being
I
like
am too. I am too.
I was being this little snot. And when I went to put it down, I gave myself a big paper cut on the newsletter. And so I'm like, that's what I get for
That'll
being.
teach you. Yeah. Oh, that's
And
funny.
I've never forgotten it. It was a lesson learned, you know.
Lesson learned. That's funny. Oh, karma, man.
I know, right? Oh
I'm
my
in
gosh.
Percy too, though. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's
I
funny you say that. I get excited. Well, I look for my name. I look for Taplin to see if there's any articles about any Taplins, and it always brings me up. And I'm like, not me, not me. Trying to look for other Taplins.
I feel like we need to start a hashtag, like I'm in
Yeah,
Percy hashtag.
I like it. I like it. I'll start that in a couple weeks in my blog. I'll
Thank
start
you.
that. Yeah,
It'll just be you and me.
just us.
It'll
Yeah,
do it.
party
Okay,
of two.
I know we
Yeah.
have to be serious. We have to focus on what's going on here.
Okay.
So you are going to give a presentation to VGA later this month, and the title is Deeds to Dirt, Case Studies and Analyzing Research with Maps. So can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to learn?
Yeah, basically the whole premise of the lecture is to go from your documents, your deeds, if you will, but other documents that mention places and find the dirt or the location on a map, like where is that? So it might mention, some land description. I have a lot of ancestors in the rectangular land description in the public land states. So it's like, it'll say something like the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter of section 7 north range, whatever west, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
where is that? What is that? What does that mean? How do I find that on a map? So we're going to look at that and others, like, actual addresses, but we'll look at ways to find them on maps. And then we're going to look at what does that mean in terms of your research? Like, does that help you break down any brick walls? How do you look at like the fan club, the neighbors, stuff like
Yeah.
that? It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite topics, is kind of like
Yeah.
seeing people in context, like in geographic context. I really like to do that.
And so do you ever do like a deeds timeline? It like following a person, with the properties that they've bought?
Yeah, I have. I don't have an example in this lecture,
No,
but
it's fine.
but
No,
I
I was just
have.
curious. Yeah.
Well, no, it's a good idea, especially if you have somebody that does a lot of buying and selling. Mine tend to buy and then stay there.
Yeah.
Like that's where they farmed. And so I might have another deed where they sell it to their son, or they, whatever, but it's generally, mine are relatively stable. But I do have one ancestor who went, he lived in New Hampshire, but he went to Minnesota and bought a bunch of land on cash sale. So it was $1.25 an acre. So he got a bunch of land up there cheap. And so I have 15 land patents up there, and I have not followed through with when did he sell them. So that's an
Hmm.
excellent example. I could, what am I going to do with 15? I'm going to have to put them in a timeline.
Yeah.
So yeah, to figure out when did he sell them, how much did he sell them for, who did he sell them to, because he never lived there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
never found evidence that he lived in Minnesota. His son lived there for about a year. He worked in a Indian reservation as the farm supervisor for about 1 year. That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they had a summer home. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well,
From
I
New
am,
Hampshire to
yeah,
Minnesota. I imagine you could take the lakes, the Great Lakes to get there, but
right. Depends when this was.
yeah, it would have
When,
been 1850s,
oh, so
60s.
after the Erie Canal and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so, well, I am looking forward to it because I am very strong with Sanborn maps, but with other types of maps, that's not one of the
Oh, yeah, yeah.
collections that I have really dug into. So you've
Mm,
already intrigued me and enticed me for this
good.
presentation. So thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to it, as I'm sure the rest of our members will be too. So thank you for doing
Yeah,
this little interview.
absolutely. I'm looking forward to it as well. And as always, so fun to chat with you.
I know. Thanks. Bye, Carrie.
Thank you. Bye.